Hi everybody. Today what I'd like to do is I would like to put the skid plate back on. I would like to put the lower back on the left side. And when that's on, I can hopefully work out how I'm going to hide all the wiring. Um, Most of it will be, kept under the lower, but there's a lot of length of extension wire, and I'm kind of unsure how I'm going to handle that. And then I'd also like to begin installing the Soundbomb horn. And in a perfect world, I would have the skid plate up, the lowers back on, the crash bars back on, and the Soundbomb horn mounted completely before we're done today. Let's get started. I'm back at the battery where I feel like I'm spending all my time, and I'm going to tape up the controller there. Let me cut off a piece of my Gorilla tape here. Now I'm just going to stick it. I did wipe this down with an alcohol swab too prior to cutting that tape. So let me just hold it there. You're supposed to hold it for, I think, 30 seconds. Keep it nice and tight. And then once I'm done here, I'll show you guys the other side and kind of show you what the wiring looks like up that left side there. From the left side of the motorcycle, this is what the wiring looks like. I routed everything underneath and up this side, and this should all hopefully fit under the lower. You can see here I have some zip ties here and there. I think I used maybe 4 zip ties total, not a lot. And I left the wires with some slack so they have room to bend and give as I put the lower on. I did run the horn wiring, and there it's large bundles here of electrical wiring for the horn. I did run it on the other side of this hose. Harley has one of their bundles under there too, so I put them in there to create room. And the hose, there's actually like 2 hoses there. Hold them pretty tight, so I don't think I'll have to use any zip ties until I get the lower on. I ran the extensions out for now over the fender, and I just got them hanging down there, and I put some blue tape on them to label them so I know which one is which. It is a lot. This wiring here, like here's an example. This is like an extra, 1.5 foot of wire, and I kind of don't know where I'm going to hide it, and I have 4 of these. So it's something I'm going to have to deal with at the end. A little nervous about that. Things to note here when you wire this up. The horn wiring harness has a very big relay. I just kind of tucked it in here behind. Let me move this out of the way. There you go. I have it tucked. Here we go. Behind this plug here on the voltage regulator, and it fits pretty good. So that's tucked away right there. It does fit in there pretty good too when pressure is going to be put on it by the skid plate holder, or the skid plate. Over here, I have the wiring harness for the Dialdim. This is it right here, and I left as much slack as I can on it, so that way when I push down on it with the lower, it gives. But you have to be cognizant here that the horn, I don't know if we can see that, but it says horn right there. That horn lead has to be very close to where the OEM horn is right there. So you got to keep that in close proximity, so that way you can use it as a pass-through. So just be aware of that. I did have to kind of work with this wire to get it as close as I could. And I think that's really everything. The hard part is just going to be squeezing the skid plate on. I have dry fit it one time and I got it to fit, so it was a little bit of a struggle, but it went on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that skid plate on there right now. I just wanted to show you that I have the skid plate on, and I could tell you that it was a real struggle. There were wires that were coming out the bottom here that were kind of pinching between the voltage regulator and this opening. So I had to kind of stop and get a little screwdriver and kind of push the wires in so there was no pinching. And also, I don't want the metal to cut into the protective cover around the wiring. So anyways, I got that in there. And I just wanted also to show that this is that horn relay I was showing earlier. I could not get it to fit in there. It kept popping out, and it was keeping me from being able to fasten this down. So this is now out, and I'll just have to deal with it, I think. And next is trying to get the lower on over these wires. So let's see how that goes. I managed to get the lower on without any issues. I had to wiggle it just a little bit to get it in place, but it pretty much just went right on. So I was very happy after my struggle with the skid plate. The relay, which I could not fit under the skid plate, I tucked it away right here. Let me pull it out. It is a relay plug into a relay socket. So what I did was I ran a, you see it right here, a zip tie underneath the plug, and I ran it through this hole at the top of the socket here, and then I tightened it up so that way the plug and socket cannot come dislodged while I'm writing. And I'll get a zip tie and kind of put it in there neatly. But it looks okay there. You really don't see it from the side. And the wires in the front look okay too. This is them here. They're coming out the lower. And there's quite a few of them. There were some there already, and plus now I have the 4 extensions. But, you know, they don't look too bad, and I can organize them, I'm sure, with zip ties and do my best to hide them so that way they look neat. So I think the next step for me is going to be putting on the crash bar on the side and seeing how that comes along. Well, the skid plate is off again. Everything was fine with the skid plate, but I had a lot of issues getting the crash bars on. Specifically, if I put the top mount in here, the top fastener, then I could not get in the bottom fastener. It was too low. And I don't know if that's because I've dropped it on this side and maybe they're bent a tiny bit, or if they're just meant to have kind of that tension in between them. It was just very difficult. So what I ended up doing was I put the top bolt in, and if you see here, it's my horn mount. When you mount the original Soundbomb Horn mount, it comes with a special, well, it's actually a longer bolt that you have to use. So I just went ahead and used it because I don't want to have to struggle with the crash bar again. So I partially mounted the horn mount. So I put in the top point, and then when it came time for me to do the bottom point here, what I did was I got my old Harbor Freight lift, which is right here, and I got a corner of the lift, and I stuck it directly under the crash bar, and I lifted and lifted and lifted till it was just touching it, and it just lifted it enough for me to get the bolt in there because it just wouldn't go, and I didn't want to strip out the bolts. But that did the trick. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with the mounting of the horn mount, and the directions from Denali say to use their bolt here if you're going to keep using the crash bars, which I am, so I did use their bolt. And then I have to remove this fastener here off the frame, and this is a huge Torx bit. This is a T55 that I'm going to use to pop this off, and I hope that this will just lift right up in place here. We're going to see if I have to struggle with it because I do not want to take this bolt off. So let's see what we could do. I was able to mount the horn mount with both fasteners without any issues. I did have to loosen this up a tiny bit to get this to rotate up, but it was not a problem. This bolt here is really large. It actually bolts into part of the engine, so it's very long and it's very tough to get out. You need a lot of leverage. I had to use a ratchet breaker bar to get it off, but it came off, and then I retightened everything up. So next will be to get that horn mounted, but I think before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get the skid plate back on, hopefully for the last time. I am happy to report that the skid plate is back on for what I hope is the final time. Now I'd like to move on to connecting the Soundbomb horn, which is going to go right here on this mount. Now, we have two bundles of wire that Denali provided me with here. You can see here I only need enough length just to go to right here, right? It's probably just a few inches I need from where it comes out there at the lower. However, I have probably an extra 2.5 feet of wire that I do not need, so I'm going to have to cut it down. I'm probably going to measure to here and then maybe just an extra inch or two, and that way I have some slack to play with. One bundle goes to the new Soundbomb horn, and then the other bundle goes to the OEM horn, so I can continue to use it in conjunction with the Soundbomb horn. And I'm going to cut them both to about the same length because they both only need to go just a few inches. The new hardware that I'm going to put on the end here after I clip it is provided by Denali. They give you a little baggie here with a new female and a male spade connectors, so you can just cut the wires to whatever length you like and then put these on and connect everything up. So let me get going on that right now. Well, it has been 24 hours since I cut and connected the posi connectors to these wires here. And the reason it's been 24 hours is I ran into problems connecting the other set of wires that go to the original Soundbomb horn. My first issue was that Denali provides you in the kit with the Soundbomb wiring harness two of these little blue flag connectors. The connectors themselves are too small to take the thickness of this wire. The gauge is too big for the connector. So I needed to get a bigger connector. So I went to AutoZone, and for just a few dollars, I bought a box that had 6 or 7 of these yellow connectors. Yellow is the next size up. So I just came home and I just kind of put it on there, and it fits just right, right? It goes on there good. So then I broke out my crimping tool that I've been using, and I attempted to crimp this on, and in the process, I ruined the actual connection point, the female point here that goes onto the male connector. What happens is when you crimp this where you're supposed to, you end up deforming the connection point. And there's no way with a regular wire crimper to in any way crimp this without destroying it, or to crimp it with a really strong crimp on that wire. It just doesn't work. You actually need a special tool. It's a flag crimper to get this to crimp properly. So then I started pricing those tools, and they run anywhere from like, $35 to $200, depending on, what you want with it. And it was just something that I was like, well, maybe I can get around it. So here in my garage, I found these old electrical connectors that I had used in the past doing some minor electrical work around the house. So I took out the yellow connector. It's a spade connector. And I mocked it up on the horn, and that's what it looks like. It does fit. It's nice, firm fitting. But, it's the standard kind, so it hangs way down, and I just think it looks really ugly. If I used this type of connector, at the very least, I would probably cover up the yellow with black electrical tape. And I think that would probably be workable. But I wanted to use a flag connector after seeing this mock-up. I just think that the flag connection is way cleaner looking. It doesn't hang down as much. So I went ahead and bit the bullet, and I bought a crimping tool. I got this on Amazon. Here it is right here. And this is like a $40 tool. Like I said, they range from about $35 to $200. I got a very basic one. It just does 2 sizes. It does the yellow the yellow flag connectors, and then the blue flag connectors. And that's really all I need. I imagine if I ever needed one of these again, it's going to be one of those sizes. And also, it was the cheapest one. So I bought this. It was delivered today. And now I'm going to use the tool to clamp the flag connectors onto the wires. All right, I put the first flag connector on successfully. The yellow does seem to be the size to use. I just snipped the second wire. So let me strip off what I need here. And, okay. You can tell I'm not a pro. So let me twist this. I might have cut off a little bit more than I needed, but I'll cover the bottom portion with electrical tape if I need to. Then stick it on the flat connector all the way till you could see it here on the end. And you could see that there's a dot for blue and a dot for yellow. You just pop it into the yellow dot end. Okay, it's there, it's locked. Let me give it a real good crimp. Turn it to the side so you can see a crimp. Let it go. And then there you have it. So you know what, in the end, if you got the extra, $40 to $45 and you want a clean install and, you think possibly maybe you'll use it in the future, I would go ahead and get the tool. Otherwise, you may have to improvise and see what works best for you. So now that I have the connectors on the wires over there by the horn, I'm just going to let them hang for a moment. And I'm going to remove the OEM horn, which is here at the front of the bike above the radiator. And luckily, it is only held on with one bolt. And that's it right there. I'm pointing to it there with a screwdriver. It's a 10 millimeter, so you can get in there with a 10 millimeter wrench and take it off. Now that I am looking at it, I can tell you that it would have been easier to do with the crash bars and the lowers off on this side. Something to think about if you're going to do this to your own Pan America. I'm just going to go ahead and leave them on, of course. I'm definitely not going to take them off. And I will just get in there as best I can and remove the horn. Well, I removed the horn, and here it is. And I just wanted to clarify something. I said earlier you were removing a 10 millimeter bolt to remove the horn, and I was wrong about that. The actual bolt is kind of built into the back of the horn, and what you are actually removing is just a 10 millimeter nut. And then the horn came right out, and it wasn't really too difficult to get out, even with the crash bar and lower on, so it wasn't bad. So we got a lot going on here. These two flag connectors that are hanging are the original OEM connectors. They're here. This one here is the horn connector from the Pan America wiring harness that we got for the Dialdim. You can just barely see the green tag back here, and it's marked horn. And then these are from the Soundbomb Horn wiring harness that we ordered, and these are the little posi connectors we just connected a few moments ago. So the way everything is supposed to connect is this one here from the wiring harness, the horn connector, is going to go into the positive of the regular OEM plug that was here already, the red one. And then after I do that, you could just make it out when you're up close that where this connector is, right on the back here, there's like a pass-through. And what you are supposed to do is you're supposed to plug in the positive horn, the male section, into the pass-through on the back. And then this connects to the horn connector. Also, we have to connect these little two posi connectors to the OEM horn wires. So the way these posi connectors work is you remove the black part, the bottom, and it unscrews. And I'll hold it close to the camera so you can see. Hopefully that will come into focus. But you can see there there is like a section of it that is cut away. Well, what you do is you trap the wire you're connecting to in that. And then once it's trapped in there, you rescrew it. And you can see the bottom portion has a metal post that pierces the covering, the insulation around the wire. And when you screw this in, you pierce into the wire, and now you're tapped in. So I need to do this to both of the OEM power supply plugs here. Like I said before, you're supposed to have a red wire for the power from Denali, but I don't. I have a yellow one instead, so I'll assume that this is the power, the positive, excuse me, and that the blue is the negative. Now, to get the positive connectors to work, you have to do a little bit of work on these wires. You can see here they're covered like in a black sheath, and it's some type of cloth. Clearly, it's supposed to be some type of I don't know, you call it abrasion resistant or weather resistant cloth that's on top of it. The posi connectors won't go over that cloth, it's too thick. So I had to actually get a razor blade and cut some away here so you could actually see the red there. I exposed the red wire underneath, or the red insulation underneath. And on this one you can't tell because it's all black, but I did cut away the cloth there, and it's just the black insulation showing now. So in those portions where the insulation is bare is where I will connect the posi connectors. So with that, I'll start connecting. I'm going to do my best to get most of it on camera. First, what I'm going to do is I am going to connect the posi connectors. So yellow is going to go into the positive. So I will trap the red wire in this little black cap. There it is. And now I'm going to screw it into the red cylinder. So let's see how this goes. Okay, the positive posi connect is on. That was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but it's on. Okay, so that is connected back on. That took a minute. So, positronic connectors are there. Now let's move on to the horn connection from the Pan America harness, the pass-through connection. So the top connector here on the horn is the positive, and that's what we want to connect on the back here where this pass-through is. So let's see if we can get that in there. Oh yeah. Okay, that went right in. That went in really good. So next is going to be connecting the power supplies back. Okay, here's the positive connection. Okay, that is connected. And now I'm going to connect the negative. Okay, negative is on. Okay, everything is plugged back in. So let me put the horn bolt back through its connector there. Now we are on to the installation of the Soundbomb horn. So we still have our Soundbomb connectors here and the mount right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the included bolt and nut and just start them. This is a 13 millimeter bolt and nut. So 13 millimeter wrench is what you're going to need. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start it with the nut behind the mount. There we go. And what's going to happen is you can see here that there's a little part of the back of the horn that the bolt can go through here. There's like a little archway there, the bolt can go through there, and the head of the bolt will be trapped back here. So as you tighten the nut, the bolt will remain still and you can tighten it up. So let's go ahead and connect our little flag connectors. These can be a little tricky as I learned connecting the OEM horn. Be sure it's nice and solid connection because you can put these on wrong and they will come off really easy. So be sure it's on correctly. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, I did that first try. Okay, so now that they're connected, I'm going to go ahead and place this over the bolt. Ah, there we go. I felt it. It's seated in there good. All right, let me kind of move some of this stuff a little bit out of the way. The wiring is just all over. You know what? I'll work on that last. Let's just get this tightened up. I'm going to squeeze my 13 millimeter wrench on the back here. The directions say that you can adjust this based on the lines of your bike, and you can angle it in either direction up to 10 degrees. They don't recommend you doing it any more than 10 degrees though, because it will affect the sound of the horn. I pretty much just want mine straight up and down for the most part. All right, that's solid. That was much quicker than I thought it would be. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to adjust the wires to where I want them a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and test the horn out. Right. Now that we have the horn all wired up, let's see if it works. Okay, the Dialdim controller appears to be working. In this small confined space in my garage, I'm almost worried about how loud it will be, if it works. So let's try this. Holy moly. Holy crap. That's loud as hell. But I guess that's what we want. Okay, I'm very happy with that. That's nuts. That's going to end it for today's video. The next video, hopefully we can wrap everything up. I just want to get the D4 lights on and hide and organize all the wiring. And then we should be done. So with that, thank you for watching. Hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you again real soon.